Dancin with the devil. My rise to new heights in the drug game was the result of the fortuitous meeting with my new Colombian supplier, JC. In an ironic twist, despite JC's initials, I used to refer to him as the devil, but not because he was so deep in the night. Drug game, JC was the devil because I never saw him lose at gambling. He and I both enjoyed games of chance. I'd take $25,000 from the first 5 kilos I'd sell, then head to the casinos with JC to have some fun. We would fly to Vegas at 10 o'clock at night and stay there until 6 o'clock the next morning. Without fail, he'd win. He'd earn $70,000 at one spot. Then we would go to the Normandy Club, where he'd win another $140,000. I'd be in the casinos getting murdered, while this guy would have chips damn near sky high. Man, you're the fucking devil, I'd jokingly say to him. Not once did I see him lose at the tables. Not once. It's like the 51. Laws of attraction were working for his ass. Since he already had a lot of money, more money seemed to be attracted to him. Over time, I learned that JC had millions. He owned a whole block of apartment buildings on both sides of the street in Inglewood. The way JC and I met, me and my boy FL was riding around as I was looking to cop 15 kilos. Since Boss Man was locked up for more than 6 months, I didn't have a reliable supplier. So I would have to go to one spot and get 5 kilos, go to another place to get 3 kilos, and another spot to get the rest. After the second stop, FL asked, "Man, you need a plug?" He didn't look at me when he asked the question, probably because he was disappointed in how inefficiently I was conducting my business. Hell yeah, excitement and surprise both present in my voice because I knew FL was a player with high-powered connections. But I also knew that drug game was not his area. I'm going to introduce you to one of my Colombian partners. Since FL didn't sell drugs, I don't know what business they had together, but that was none of my business. FL stepped out of the ragtop Corvette we were in and placed a quick phone call. When he got back in the car, he had a smile on his face like his mission was accomplished. 52. Turn right up here at the light, then make a left on Lakewood. FL instructed me. Pull in this parking lot. Let's grab something to eat. We pulled into the Denny's parking lot on Lakewood BLVD. Right off the freeway. My partner is going to meet us up here in a few. As we were placing our order, I saw a gray Plymouth Acclaim pull in right next to my Corvette. The driver was light-skinned with blonde hair and looked like he was in his early 20s. He wore a Boston Celtics jersey and some shades. He looked like a regular white boy, but once we met, he acted like, deep down inside, he wanted to be a brother. FL had already told me that he was Colombian. The Colombian walked up to our booth and hugged FL. Then FL introduced us, JCC. This is my partner, Kefd. I stood and we shook hands. Kefd meet JC. JC joined us in the booth. He was originally from Medellin, the same place as Pablo Escobar and the cocaine godmother Griselda Blanco. Being the avid Lakers fan that I am, I immediately went in on the Celtics jersey he was wearing. Man, don't you know this is Lakersville? You sure got some balls. He already knew where I was going, so he covered his mouth as he started to laugh. Before I could finish. 53. He shot back, 16 titles, check the record books. That's all I have to say with a smug smile on his face. His English was excellent. The conversation and vibe went smooth, and from his friendly demeanor, I knew I had a new plug. We continued to converse about sports while eating our food. As usual, FL withdrew from the conversation once it turned to sports since sports wasn't his thing, as JC prepared to leave FL into the meeting, with one final emphatic statement, this guy right here. He looked JC in his eyes, put his arm around my shoulder and said, "He's the real deal. They don't get no realer." JC nodded in acknowledgement. As we began walking back to the car, I asked FL, "That's your plug? Dude is connected?" FL waited until we reached the car. "Yeah, he's real strong." As if he were an oracle, he continued, "Just make sure that you take care of me when you blow up." Blowing up is what happened, and taking care of FL is what I did. I made sure FL shit was right every month. Whatever he needed, I broke him off. FL got busted and served about a year, right after he made the connection. But when he got out, I broke him off real proper. JC didn't have any immediate action at the time we met, so I had to continue with my original plans of buying kilos from various people to keep my money. 54. Flowing. A few weeks after meeting JC, I went and bought 15 kilos from one of my suppliers for $22,500 per kilo. One of my drivers had the kilos in the car in front of me, and I stayed on his bumper to make sure he didn't get pulled over. We caught a red light at the intersection of Alondra and Long Beach BVD. While we were sitting at the T-light, JC pulled up next to me. "Kev, D, what's up?" "I've been looking for you." "Well, you found me. What's up?" He motioned for me to pull over to the side of the road. I told my driver to keep going to the stash house and put the load away. JC leaned his head into the ride and said, "It's on." "Oh yeah, follow me over to my dad's house." Once we arrived, he let me know, "Big dog, I have kilos for $17,000 right now." My eyes widened. I was used to buying 20 to 25 kilos at a time. JC hit me off with 148 birds. On consignment, like it was nothing. Bullshitting. I just bought 15 kilos for $22,500 from my guy. I did some quick mental math and calculated how much more I would make fucking with the Colombian. I'm going to take this shit back. No, come roll with me real quick. Get somebody to ride with us. 55. He didn't have to ask me twice. I got in touch with my brother, Lil Dog. "I need you over here with the quickness." Lil Dog jumped into a Maxima, swooped me up, and we followed JC to a one-bedroom apartment. It was 15 minutes away in Hawthorne. JC unlocked the door and we followed him into a practically empty apartment. He motioned for us to follow him into the kitchen. Once we got there, he started to open up all the cabinets. Each cabinet was filled with tape U-Haul boxes. "All of them are yours." We're stunned as each other. So my brother and I. Silence filled the kitchen. "What? I acted like I didn't hear him. All of them are yours. Try to have the money. Within a month, there were 148 birds kilos inside the cabinets. I used to buy 20 to 25 kilos at a time. JC hit me off with 148 birds on consignment like it was nothing. The shit blew my mind because things like that don't happen every day. At $17,000 a piece, that amounted to a little over $2.5 million land. No problem. My mind was racing on how I was going to distribute the shit, but my thoughts crashed back down to the ground. I thought about the $337,500 I had just spent for 15 kilos at $22,500 per kilo from my old connect. My brother and I began filling the trunk of the Maxima with the birds and quickly realized there wasn't going to be enough room. So we put the last 2 boxes in the backseat of the car and took off. I got a hold of another one of my brothers who was out in Alabama with my partner C-Ray. Come on home, niggas, it's on. What's going? Before he could finish the question, nigga, just come on home. I'll tell you when you get here. They came home the next day. It was time to get out of Alabama anyway. Those Alabama niggas were starting to get jealous of us being out there. We were some big city pretty boys with money in our pockets and smelled better than them country ass niggas. So naturally, their women were throwing plenty of action our way. Aside from the jealousy, there was also racial shit still going on out there that would have led to me catching a case. One night I stopped at a liquor store in Birmingham to buy me some Crystal Rose and Dom. Rose, hey, can you give me 2 bottles of that and 2 bottles of that? As I pointed to the bottles I was interested in buying, the white guy behind the counter was like, hey boy, you afford these bottles? Couldn't believe my ears. What? Who the fuck are you talking to? You see a boy suck his dick? The nigga who was in the store with us from Alabama got scared and intervened. No, he doesn't. 57, mean that, sir? Yes, the fuck I do. Fuck you, cracker. My guys pulled me back out of the store. When we got outside in the parking lot, the Alabama nigga was like, man, they'll kill you down here. They'll hang you by. I cut that scary bullshit off, nigga. I'll blow that motherfucking dude's dome off. Where we're from, we don't play that boy shit, homie. Our time in Alabama was over. We relocated out of Alabama near the end of '91 and started hitting other cities where we already had folks. We hit up Little Rock, Arkansas, Wichita, Kansas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Atlanta, Georgia, Cleveland, and Columbus, Ohio, and Maryland. Every spot we hit out of town, we made new Crip members, Southsiders to be exact. Our growth plan was simple. Move into places where we already had kinfolk or people we knew. They were doing light work, 5 kilos or something, and we made them an offer they couldn't refuse. You want to make some real money? We'd hit them with 50 kilos and make them the man. Here go 50, give me $25,000 for each one. They'd sell them for $30,000, netting $5,000 each off of 50 kilos. That's a quick $250,000 for them, and I was still getting my bread. We always made sure to go through established people who were already in those areas. We were never stupid enough to attempt to take over other people's turf, start gang wars, or risk ourselves like that. My crew was not crazy, and I made sure we didn't do any stupid shit under my leadership. We knew better than to put ourselves out there on Front Street, cause the local guys would get jealous, especially if you started having sex with their girls. I didn't mix business with pleasure. I kept my shit in my pants. A large percentage of guys in prison today are in there behind a woman. One of my mentors once told me, you can't let little head lead big head. You let little head lead big head, and you're going to be in a world of trouble. You'll end up in prison or the ground. At my height, I was moving 300 kilos a month out of town, and another 100 kilos a week, 400 per month in the Los Angeles area. I maxed out at 700 kilos a month, pulling in a cool $4.2 million land monthly. I was able to thrive in the game for a while because there was a difference between the crew I put together and those that came before me. The main difference was that the team that I assembled were cold-blooded, off of their fucking rockers, my crew. At my height, I was moving 300 kilos a month out of town and another 100 kilos a week, 400 per month here in the Louisiana area. Consisted of my nephew's homies, my little homies, and they were willing to do and did whatever needed to be done. 59, VVVV. Moving that much weight within the state of California and to other states without shipments. Getting busted was no easy task. Staying ahead of law enforcement required a good deal of ingenuity. Back in the day, I used to get mad when rappers like Ice Cube would say lines like St. Louis niggas want they corners back. That was a line from this song, My Summer Vacation, from his 1991 Death Certificate album. To me, all Ice Cube was doing was snitching. He wasn't sending any work to St. Louis. I was the one sending work to St. Louis. Then Jeezy had a song where he said, the bigger the rims, the bigger the bird. We used to put birds in rims. I would be mad at some of those rappers, especially the ones who weren't in the game like that. I wish they would stick to recording because they were messing up the dope game and giving law enforcement inside information. To stay ahead of law enforcement, we regularly had to change our methods for transporting product and money. We used to mail chickens, kilos, and cash through the mail, but we started having too many problems. One day I lost $350,000 via the United States Postal Service. The Post Office General and the FBI delivered the package to my wife's relative, and when she signed for the package, they raided her house. If you want to keep your ass out of jail for a very long time, you better call the person that this package belongs to. An FBI agent told my wife's relative, I told you it ain't mine. The relative said, we heard you the first time. Now get the person on the phone that it belongs to. Tell them their package has arrived. The FBI agent warned. The relative called my wife Paula and said, your man's package just got here. Okay, I'll be right over, Paula replied. Instead of calling me, Paula went over there to pick up the package. Wrong move. Paula and I have been together for nearly 30 years, and we've been married for almost 13 of them. That lady is a straight rider who keeps me laughing because she's crazy, fun, and has been by my side through the good times and the bad. Nowadays, she thinks she's Kef D and sold all them kilos of cocaine. When I got to my house looking for my wife, he told me she had already left to go pick up a package for me. If she had talked to me before going, I would have advised her not to fuck with the package because there were too many red flags. I knew something was wrong because the box was scheduled for overnight delivery but arrived 2 weeks late. Something was wrong, but she didn't call me before she went over there. About 45 minutes later, my wife's relative called me, "Your thing here." The house they lived in sat off the main boulevard, so instead of making the turn, I kept straight up the road. Sure enough, by the time I got to my wife's car, the feds had the front hood, the trunk, and all the doors of her car open. This time Paula called, but before she could say a word, I said, "I see. What's going on over there? Ain't no sense in calling me with that bullshit." Yeah, you're right, was all she could say. They ended up letting her go since it was just money. That was the first of the vast sums of money I lost using the mail, so we devised a better plan. My boy FL once again was instrumental as he came through and hooked me up with a lawyer who gave me some invaluable information. The lawyer's name was Jerry, and he suggested we rent vans to transport, but he stressed that whoever drove the then to make sure they didn't have their fingerprints on the birds, kilos. He advised us to take the panels out of the van and tape the packages to the walls, then put the panels and covering back up. If the van got pulled over, we could always say it was the people who rented the van before us. He was confident that he could get any of my guys out as long as their 62 fingerprints were not on the drugs. One van could fit about 100 kilos. For a while, we had a lot of success transporting using that method, VVV. I found out that JC wasn't the devil when the FBI took him down in '92. He got busted with 350 kilos dealing with little Tommy from Inglewood. Not long after he got busted, his little brother hit me up. My brother got busted, but you want to continue working? I had been wondering what had happened to JC because he hadn't been answering his phone. Without hesitation, I answered, "Hell yeah. All right, go get a driver." I called my boy Uchi to come to get me with his Hyundai, and we followed the new plug to a hotel room in LA. He had somebody bring us 50 kilos to the hotel that we loaded into the Hyundai. On the way home, I had a heart-to-heart with Uchi, who was one of my closest friends. "You and me gonna roll off of this. Stick with me every day. I want you to be my right-hand man." Uchi didn't say anything, he just nodded his head, so I thought he agreed with what I was saying. Both C-Ray and my brother Lil Dog were out of town, so I shot C-Ray 30 birds and Lil Dog 15 birds in vans. One of my homies named Bubble Up said, "Give 63, me a chicken, kilo, so I can go to Seattle, Washington." I was like, "Your dog." Then Uchi said, "Give me a half a kilo and let me go up there with Bubble Up." I suggested, "You should stay here with me." He protested, "I want to run my own show. Just give me half a kilo and let me go up there with Bubble Up." I'll never understand why he didn't say, "Give me the other 4 and let me go with Bubble Up." I had just told him he was going to be my right-hand man. I would have given them to him since we were that close. Instead, I did as he requested and gave him the half a chicken. My brother Lil Dog and C-Ray both came back from out of town within a week with their money. My plug gave me another 100 kilos, so I gave both of them 50 kilos more. They went back to where they were stationed and then came back and reloaded again before Uchi and Bubble Up came back from Seattle with the money from the chicken and a half. About 3 weeks later, Uchi and Bubble Up returned from Seattle. Bubble Up said, "Here's $10,000 of your money. I'm going to give you $4,000 more. This dude is going to send me the money." "All right, cool." I turned to Uchi, "Where my money at?" He said, "I'm going to give you $4,500, but I'm going to take this other $4,500 and flip it and give you your money later." 64. The businessman side of me took over. "Uchi, give me my money." "I got you, dog. Just give me my money." He was like, "Nah, I'm going to flip this." I said, "Man, give me my money." I was giving him a chance to do the right thing. He didn't know First already had another 100 kilos at the stash house and was ready to break him off with more, but the nigga wouldn't budge. Completely frustrated, I said, "All right then, keep that. You can go ahead and keep that." I threw a big meeting with my crew and told everybody at the meeting not to mess with Uchi. He's going to be isolated. He just sold himself out for $4,500. I couldn't believe he did that. We started rolling big time, and he was left out Louis. About 3 months passed, and I was at a nightclub with my wife, drinking, looking fly, and this lady was flirting with me. I had to turn off because she was still looking at me, and my wife doesn't play that. Shit. Finally, the lady built up enough courage to come up to me and say, "I know you." I was quick to respond, "You don't know me. You're Uchi's homeboy. I'm supposed to go out there tomorrow to see him." "Where is he?" "Out there in Cleveland." "And you're going out there tomorrow?" C-Ray was in Cleveland, so I immediately got on my phone. 65, and asked him, "Man, is Uchi out there with you?" "No, you need to be checking with your brother." I called my brother. "Hey, cuz, you got Uchi out there with you?" "Yeah, I got him out here. I was bored." Disgusted, I said, "You're always fucking with the rules, dude. He was supposed to be isolated." I told everybody to put him on punishment to teach him a lesson. As inconsequential as those violations may seem, when I look back at things, they were 2 of the first chinks in the armor that I didn't pay too much attention to. But in hindsight, I definitely should have. Some of the hard-working homies, bad boys,